All right, we are officially live. Oh my goodness, I'm so excited to start this conversation with you all. I'm showing up to the live a little tardy. All right. So, as always, when you join, go ahead and share where you're watching from. Tell me a little bit about yourself. And in this live, for those of you who are watching the replay, I'm going to be talking about essentially how to be disciplined. I'm going to be sharing a little bit of what I've gone through recently. It's been a long 3 months. And just sharing some overall tips of how we need to implement discipline in our practice, in our business, in our lives. Because I think that's where everything starts, is when we can have that level of discipline. All right, I have some notes I'm about to pull up here. For those of you who are watching for the first time, hi, welcome. My name is Ayana. I'm a licensed massage therapist, esthetician, spa owner, and most recently, a registered nurse. And so this is my first video sharing that I did pass my NCLEX exam. It was almost 2 years ago when I went on this channel and shared that I was going back to nursing school and why I decided to make that decision. And now it is what? We're March 2026, and it was, I want to say January 2024 when I shared that with you all. But overall, this live is for anyone who is needing some extra motivation and practical tips on what you need to do to lock in. And when I say lock in, I really just mean expressing a level of discipline that goes beyond what you're used to. That is what I mean by locking in. I see some people are joining. And I'm just looking at some notes I have here. Okay, so essentially, I'm going to cut straight to the chase. Like, no fluff, none of that. Something I have realized is, let me back this up here. Something that I have realized is that if I can set my mind on one singular goal, that is beyond anything else that I need to accomplish a goal, essentially, is what I'm saying. And so over the past several years, and I'm sure y'all have known this through maybe watching some of the videos on this channel or just follow me for a while, I have been the type of person to have my mind on so many different things, my hand in so many different pots at the same time. It is very seldom that I put my all into one focus. There's always so many different disciplines, so many different things going on at once. And I had to realize that, especially when something is really important or you are trying to accomplish a large undertaking, so that could be for you launching your business, it could be starting your social media presence, it could be launching this idea that you've had for a while, whatever that thing is. For me, it was passing my NCLEX. Whatever it is, it would make the most sense if you cut out all distractions. And it probably goes without saying, but cutting out all distractions if you can. That is so important. And something that you all may not know about my story is the fact that this is my second time. This was my second time taking this exam. The first time I took the exam, I had so many different projects happening at once. That's just always how I've been. That's always how my mind has worked, is having multiple projects. For you, you may be multi-passionate. Maybe you can relate to what I'm saying. And I would also consider myself multi-passionate, which would explain why I constantly have multiple things going on at once. But the first time I took this exam, I did not pass. I took 150 questions and I did not pass. And to me, that was so devastating because I knew it was something that could enhance my career, change my career. I spent the last 2 years in school, working up towards this, and I was devastated. But if I look back, there were so many different things going on. I was trying to travel. I was trying to help people get their post-op MLD certification. Matter of fact, I remember one of the last cohorts that we did, my exam was like 3 days later. So that kind of gives you an idea of, like, my mind was in so many different places. This second time around, I really had to cut out all distractions. I had to put my phone on do not disturb. There were people that I just felt like I cannot engage in conversation. I cannot engage in texting. Like, I just cannot. I have to be isolated during this time. And so that's what I did. I isolated myself purposefully and tried to get the job done. And something I even find with people who reach out to me about launching their business, creating something new, I find that they're also multi-passionate and they also have so many things going on at once. And I just think it's worth it, especially if you are wanting to launch something new. If you're doing something new for the first time, I think that it's worth it to cut out all distractions and just go all in. So I'm going to give you some examples of what this looked like for me. So for me, this looked like, okay, I have a cancellation. For this hour, I have to study. I would actually go to sleep with my laptop in my bed because that was my cue. As soon as I wake up, opening the laptop, doing some practice questions. Like, I had to create cues for myself. I had to make this the number one top priority, especially knowing that I had been distracted in the past and did not pass before. This also looked like, asking for help. As y'all know, I am a mom. And during this time, I actually became a single parent. And so that required a lot more help. And so asking for help was really vital. And honestly, being a little selfish, if I can use that term. Being a little selfish and making this a top priority, knowing that accomplishing this goal can affect so many. So this is just a short period of time of being disciplined, shutting things out, shutting people out, and asking for that help. Now, something that I'm realizing now that that is over with, I had dropped the ball on so many things. I'm talking, I was not calling clients back, I was not texting people back. A lot of business opportunities kind of passed me by. I wasn't able to accommodate the amount of clients that I typically could in my practice. And it definitely affected the business. It affected um, maybe even customer service, which is something that's so important to me. And I when I went ahead and passed the test, I had to come back to emails unanswered, leads that were never followed up with, so many voice messages, so many phone calls, and just so much, just so much. And honestly, now that I have some space between that time and now, I'm not too worried about it because if I can lock in on that task, I can lock in on the business. This is something that I've built years ago. And so, like, the bones of it is there. It's just, if I like, I guess what I'm trying to express is now that I see the benefit of going all in, zeroing in my attention on one thing, like, it was to the point where, and I'm a little, I photoshopped a picture of my passing score and I put it on a 2026 vision board. I photoshopped, it said February 18th, NCLEX RN exam pass. I photoshopped it and I put that on my ceiling so I could see it every single day. Every single day. And I think that definitely helped. I had written on a sticky note just like this, and I wrote Ayana RN February 18th, yes. Just like this. And I put this on my nightstand every single day to remind me of what I'm working towards. This was my reminder of why I'm isolating myself, why I'm coming home to an empty house, why I am, um, saying no to celebrating with friends, whatever it is that they're celebrating, so that I can focus on me and this goal. And the fact that I've had to go through that and, like, just all the different habits that I had to implement to get that passing score after having failed before, I know that I can take those same skills and apply it to business. I can apply it to relationships. I can apply it to anything. At this point, like, based on what I went through in order to get that passing score, I personally believe that I can do anything. Like, I can do anything. If I spent so many hours just honed in on learning these things because honestly, certain concepts do not come easily for me. That's why whenever I teach, whenever I coach, whenever I share information, I try to make it as straightforward as possible. Not because, things are straightforward, but because that's how my brain works. Things do not click like this for me. I have to go the extra mile because I cannot afford to skate by. I always have to do something extra because I'm not the person who just it comes instantly. And maybe no one is like that. I'm not sure. But I'm sure we've all met people who, like, things just it clicks the first time. For me, I have to go the extra mile. I have to do something more because of how my brain works. D'Angela said, "Hello, thank you for sharing the story because that's what I'm going through with the NCLEX. I took it and failed. I'm a single parent of two also." Yes, it is hard. I am new to the single parenting and it is difficult. It is something else. Especially when you are focused on a goal, like when you're focused on something that you know can help their lives and change their lives. I think even just from birth, when they're born, for some reason we're socialized to have this mom guilt whenever we spend time away, and I am most certainly affected by that. Although I know that we spend a lot of time together. And I just knew that I had to be a little bit selfish. It's like I started thinking, even when I took my NCLEX, taking that NCLEX changed my life. It changed my life. It changed his life. I was able to start a business that allowed me to pay myself while I was home with him. I remember I gave birth, I gave birth, right? The next day, sold a package. I didn't have to be there. I didn't have to be present. This was before we had a space. This was when we were 100% mobile. This was in 2021. He was born. And that kept happening. Like I was able to get the business to a place where I did not have to be around in order to make a living. And you think about a ripple effect, how your career can have a ripple effect on others. Because I was able to do that, he was reading at 2 years old because I am home with him. I'm with him. I'm very very present. Yes, there were times where I did go out and do some appointments. I had that help, but for the most part, we were home. We were learning. We were reading. We were doing all sorts of stuff. He's 4 years old now, and he reads on almost a second grade level. Like it's mind blowing. And I attribute that to the ripple effect. It all started with getting that NCLEX, and that may not make sense to other people who are not in this field, but it makes sense to me how these things can have a ripple effect. Um, and I knew the same could be with my RN. I knew that getting this RN license could have a ripple effect on where my career can go and therefore affect my family, my child, so on and so forth. Um, Really, what I hope this live is about is that if we can hone in on one singular goal, it can really change the trajectory of where we're going. And it really does require discipline. And I think something that helped me is trying to make things as simple and easy as possible and understanding how I am. So I'll give you some examples of some things that I did to lock in and just focus on passing this exam. And I'm writing this down as I speak because I want to remember this for myself. And some of these things might sound a little silly, but they helped me. I mean, number one, I canceled Netflix because I know how I am when I get stressed. I like to zone out, be in the fantasy world, watch TV. Canceled Netflix, canceled my subscriptions, saved money too. So, another thing that I did, the tool that I used to study with, it was called Boot Camp. I don't think there's one for the NCLEX, but I'm sure there's some resource like that for the NCLEX. Um, I put it on my phone so that even if I had like a break while I'm working, I could do some practice questions. I forced myself to do practice questions. Another thing that I did, I started small when it came to the practice questions. I started with 20 questions at a time because another thing about my brain, it is very difficult to sit for long periods of time and focus on one thing. I tend to be the person with a million tabs open. Switching from one thing to another, it takes me a little bit longer to hone in on things. I know this about myself, so I started small. I did 20 questions at a time. Eventually, I was able to sit and do 2 hours worth of questions, which is about 100 questions. But that's only because I trained myself over time. And I realized if I can do that with practice questions, learning about patient centered care, learning about just so many different concepts that have to do with like nursing fundamentals and anatomy, physiology, I can do that with anything. Can I spend 20 minutes uh, focused on my social media presence so that I can show potential clients what it is that we do at the business and encourage them to book an appointment? Could I do that? Absolutely. Eventually, I may be able to spend an hour batch creating content so that I can market for my business. It's free to do that. That could have a ripple effect. Um, Even in addition to that, if I relate this back to, I mentioned I'd canceled Netflix. Could I cancel certain distractions? Could I delete, for example, let's say Instagram is a place where I spend most of my time. Could I delete that if I am focused on growing my business or growing my client list? Absolutely. So I'm wanting to use these parallels, what I went through in order to pass this NCLEX, and apply it to any area of my life because I truly believe that I can accomplish anything if I could accomplish that. As someone who, I'll be honest with you, I was not an A student. I was not an A student. I often felt like I wasn't smart enough to go back to nursing school. That's just a thought that kept popping up in my head. I feel like those of you who are parents, you understand this concept called mom brain, where you have a lot of brain fog. You get confused sometimes. Like that's a real thing after after having children, and sometimes it can last. In addition to that, and I'll just be more transparent here. I've come on here and I've talked about what happened with my housing situation that recently got resolved. And I'm just thinking, okay, if I can go through nursing school, not having a house, not having a place to live, like for those of you who don't know, my home it had water damage. And because of that, toxic mold developed and we had to evacuate. We had to, once we realized like the level of toxic mold, like we had symptoms, we had so many things going on, but we had no idea. And we had to evacuate. In addition to that, we had to rebuild the entire house. Like they had to take out the walls, the floors, the everything. And it was a 2-year ordeal. It essentially, and it's crazy to think about, it happened the entire time I was in school. When we evacuated, I started school about a week later. I started school in an Airbnb and was going from Airbnb to extended stay to my parents to um, just so many different places. I had to study for exams in hotels. So it's like, okay, if I can go through that, I could probably go through studying for this NCLEX. But remember, I failed the first time. So I was devastated, but I knew it could potentially be possible. Like there's no way I went through all of that to not succeed. Like there's just no way. There's no way. And I want y'all to think about your own story. Like there's no way you had to go through XYZ and not succeed. Whatever it is right now that you are wanting to accomplish. There's no possible way. I just don't believe it. Like so I'm just giving y'all an idea of kind of what I've been through and how I'm not letting that stop anything. Although there were times where it felt like I could potentially let it stop things. But anywho, when it was time to study for the NCLEX, I was just now getting back in my house, no furniture, had to throw away all the furniture because if you know about like toxic mold, you cannot keep anything that is porous. So all the stuffed animals, all the pillows, just everything that you could think of had to get thrown away. I'm starting over fresh. Like definitely a Job moment. And so if I can study without having a couch, um like this must be happening for a purpose. Um Getting a little sidetracked. I know I'm talking about some of the things that I did. I told you that I photoshopped a picture of what success looked like. I put it on a vision board and I taped it to my ceiling, in addition to writing a note of what I wanted to happen and putting that on my nightstand so I could see it every day. Another thing that I did was just taking all my study materials to work. So, for example, if a client canceled, honestly, I'm not too worried about it. First of all, we got a deposit anyways, but second of all, this is my opportunity to study some more, to um, kind of read over my notes and get more information. On my way traveling to anywhere, like if I'm in the car, I would listen to videos that would help me have more knowledge. So, like anatomy and physiology videos, things related to the topic. Um, these were the main things that I did. A lot of meditation, a lot of prayer, of course, and just trying to trust the process, cutting out people who were distracting me. I feel like we all probably have had someone in our life. It's like, if I text this person, there is a chance it could be unharmonious. And I might feel a type of way. My energy will be affected temporarily. And I did not need that at all while I'm trying to study and focus on my goals. So that had to, be cut out. Um, those were the main things that I did. And just becoming just super obsessed with this, coming obsessed with passing and also not telling anyone exactly what I'm doing. So I didn't tell anyone the day that I took my test because that would put so much pressure on me. I remember how it felt when I told people I'm about to take the test the first time and I didn't pass. And so I had to follow up and tell them, oh, I didn't pass. And that just felt so devastating to me. So I decided that I would just treat it like a normal day, tell myself I'm prepared enough, trust that whatever happens is for the greater good. And I didn't tell anyone I was about to take the test. That way, if it didn't go in my favor, I didn't have to tell anyone either. I could tell people on my own time. I also had to step away from the business. So I have not been on YouTube. I've not been marketing for the business, like all of that, because also while this happened, um, one of my front desk staff, love her dearly. She was the best. She went back home. She went back home. Won't tell too much of her story, but yeah, she went back home. So I became the front desk essentially. Um, so I just had to let everything fall away, knowing that I could pick it back up once this goal was accomplished. And I am just so grateful and glad that that is over with. I will never have to take an exam like this again. I think something that was really, really special though is I took this exam in the same exam center where I took my NCLEX 10 years ago. And it just feels full circle. That was, well, I guess 9 years ago because that was 2017. Um, but it's the same exact exam center, same place that I took the NCLEX, which changed my entire life. Best decision I ever made, taking that NCLEX. And it just felt really special to be in that same place. Some other random things that I did, painted my nails pink because I knew I would see it. And that's a color that makes me instantly feel happy. Like, I guess this room is pink right now, makes me feel good. So, just doing things that made me feel good, dressing in ways that made me feel good, and just doing things that made me feel good in order to attract more goodness. So, I think that was also very important and cannot be understated. Now, how can we apply this to just our everyday life? Like, what am I going to take from this? How am I going to take that experience, which just felt like it really felt like one of the hardest times in my life. One thing I am grateful for that I'll share is I'm originally from San Diego. I live in Florida. I say I'm from San Diego. I never grew up in San Diego. I grew up here. Um, my grandmother came out here from San Diego to help with, watching my son, help my mom, all that stuff. And I just feel so grateful for that because I feel like this is what, tribes were probably doing, like having that woman support, like having just people around you who are willing to help and who care and like want you to meet your goals. So I'm grateful that she was able to come out here and also able to spend time with my son and also to hear the result. She didn't even know what I was doing. She didn't know that I was trying to pass this endeavor. But to be able to share that with her was really special. But I want to talk about how we apply this to our life. How do we apply that to our life? Um, right now, what I'm doing, and I like to be transparent, like, because I mentioned even when I advertise this live, that I would share like what's going on in the business right now, where I'm going, what is the goal, what are we doing right now. So, number one, I had to take some time to just see everything that I've missed, all the calls, all the voicemails, all the text messages, all the appointments I missed out on, all the applications I never got back to, just everything, that might have been overdue, like things I had neglected. I had to make an accountability list and list it all so I could see it right in front of me so that I could make a solid plan for how I'm going to move forward. So, right now, essentially, my goal in the business is to get staffed again. For me and my business model, staffing is very important. Um, I would attribute most of my success that I've seen over the years, and I've been doing this now consistently for 6 years, self-employed for 6 years. Um, Staffing has been a big part of this. You all know that by month three, I had already onboarded someone, and that has helped me. The reason why it's helped me is because it allows me to be in more than one place at once. I notice that we see the most success when I'm not always in the treatment room. Being in the treatment room is important, but I see the most success and I'm able to help more clients when I'm outside of the treatment room and when I get that help. And so, one of my goals right now, and I'm writing this down, fully staffed. And I'm reflecting on when we've seen the most success. That's usually when we have 3 practitioners and plus myself. So that's 4, and 2 front desk staff. I'm taking my time with this because you gotta find the right people. You cannot just let anybody represent your brand. And I've learned that over the years, and that's what I teach. And this is something that cannot be rushed. In the meantime, another goal that we have right now, and this is solely talking about business. I'm going to get into wellness and mindset in a moment because that is just as important. Trust me, that is just as important. Another goal that we have is our marketing initiative has to rely on other fields. What is the best way to put it? Strategic marketing. If you are on Instagram, I highly, highly, highly recommend adding me there because I have a group. It's free to join, where I share my marketing initiatives, I share my numbers, I share the revenue, I share just tips throughout the day. I share a lot of different stuff in this group. Highly, highly, highly recommend you add me in there. It's called the Spapreneur Society. And recently I went in there sharing the behind the scenes of a healthcare program that I am launching to the hospital that is right around the corner near my spa. It's a very popular hospital here, and it is essentially an employee incentive program that will help the employees, the healthcare workers, the healthcare workers who, they work hard. They do a lot. They do so much. And I know this because I was there doing the clinicals. I was there studying under nurses. Not just nurses, all the healthcare professionals. Anyways, we're launching a healthcare program that will help the employees of these hospitals get in touch with accessible bodywork and therapeutic touch. And it is something that I have not seen anyone do. And so that is another one of my goals, is expanding this program. It is a great alternative to what I teach, which is memberships. It's not a membership, but it is an incentive. I highly recommend you adding me on Instagram, joining that group so you can see the details of that and like what the plan is, because I shared step by step like what it is, how you can make one in your community. More people need access to bodywork and therapeutic touch, especially healthcare workers or whoever it is that you wish to serve. But for me, I definitely have a special place in my heart for people who are taking care of patients day in and day out. So that's why we created this program for them. Social media is another incentive, or another initiative, I should say. And I know I'm listing multiple things, and the overall theme was to be focused and honed in on one thing. But to me, this is one thing, which is ensuring that the business gets the publicity, the recognition, and just the awareness that it deserves. Um, and I want you to feel that same way about your business. There is likely something that you do, a special way that you do it, that needs to be experienced by the person that you wish to serve. If I were to think about myself and what it is that I do in my community, I am providing a place of healing for individuals who are recovering from different types of surgery. It's not just cosmetic surgery, although that is a majority of what it is that we do. In addition to that, I've helped a lot of people who are wheelchair bound, who may think that they cannot get body work, but they absolutely can. Um, People with so many different types of conditions who may feel like they cannot get body work, but they absolutely can and should. I'm also providing education to nurses, massage therapists, estheticians who wish to do this in their own communities. I am helping people feel confident in their bodies again. I'm providing education to them so that they can feel empowered at home to know what it is that they can do to get the optimal results for their health. I am helping people address inflammation, bloating, so many different health concerns. That deserves to be shared with my community. Why would I not promote this? Why am I not on social media every day sharing the word about what it is that we do and who we help? Why would I not do that? So that should be a priority because of how much I believe in my services and who I know it can help. Because that is essentially what we are doing when we have a business. We're in it to help other people. We're in it to provide a transformation, and we're in it to provide some type of result. It is not all money based. If we are being completely real, business owners don't pay themselves as much as they should, just because there's so much that it takes to run a business. You have your overhead, you have your staff, you have this and this and that. So if you're in it for that, this might not be the best decision for you, although it is important. You should be able to pay your bills. You should be able to put money aside for things that you want, and then some. That's I'm not saying that you shouldn't. I'm just saying that as a business owner, there are going to be ups and downs. So you really have to be passionate. You really have to be passionate about this and be willing to share that passion with other people. And you do that by marketing. So what I'm saying is, now that I understand, now that I have the belief that I can do anything, because as someone with the brain that I have, I was able to pass that test. Someone who has, and I'm changing the story, but who used to believe I'm not a good test taker. It's hard for me to sit down for long periods of time. I just don't get this information like everyone else does. Things just don't click easily for me. It takes explaining things multiple times for me to get it. Large concepts are hard for me to digest. All those different stories I used to tell myself, I've had to flip that switch. And now I feel completely and utterly capable to accomplish anything. And because I feel that way, I feel like this can be applied to, again, anything: business, relationships, health. And now I kind of want to switch gears over to talking about wellness, writing this down. All right. So, talking about wellness, because when you are locking in and focusing on your business, going all in on whatever your initiative is, whether your initiative is similar to mine, such as marketing initiatives or staffing initiatives, or just getting started, just getting the paperwork done, whatever it is, passing the NCLEX, whatever it is. Um, we have to take care of ourselves at the same time. So, what does that look like for me? And this is another reason you want to add me on Instagram, because I went on Instagram, I shared, okay, it's March. These are my goals. Hold me accountable. I went and I took a camera to my face and I said, these are my goals. Hold me accountable. So, this is to kind of reiterate those goals and hold me accountable. So, I said that I was not going to be eating out as often as I was when I was studying, which I've given myself a lot of grace for, going to those coffee shops, spending $5 on a coffee because I feel guilty if I don't spend any money in there to use their Wi-Fi, and eating those bagels and stuff. My skin broke out so much because I was eating so much junk. I was so stressed. It was in my body. It was in everything. Like, I could tell, like, I've never had that strong of a reaction to stress when I was working towards passing that test. So it's time to kind of undo that. I don't want to call it damage, but undo that way of thinking and get more into wellness. So I said I wasn't going to eat out as much. And it's day 10, and I have been eating at home. The only time I ate out was when we went to Pride, which happened here, over this past weekend. And I did support some of the local businesses out there vending. But either way, that's good, local food. Anywho, another thing I said was, being outside more now that the weather has changed. And I have been doing that. So being outside. And essentially, I'm naming things that help me. For you, it might be a little bit different. It is important for you to identify the things that feel good to you. I have a mentor, and she always says you have to look at wealth, and wealth spelled WELLTH. Something that she's taught me is that wellness really does come first when it comes to accomplishing goals. And I'm gonna listen to her because she's very, very, very successful. Um, so focusing on my well-being, being outside, eating more at home, which has been just so creative and fun. Like, I'm falling in love with it for sure. And now it's becoming a new normal to just eat at home. It's starting to feel like a flex, to be quite honest with you, to just eat at home and cook my own meals and all that stuff. Um, those are the main things. Of course, drinking more water, which, we tell our clients to do. We need to do this. And getting more body work done myself. So receiving massage body work, which is something I have neglected. I am too embarrassed to tell you how long I've neglected that. But I'm working on it for sure to receive that type of wellness. So we kind of have all the components here. So I'm talking about honing in on our wellness, having that goals kind of locked in, locked down, honing in on your business goals. But above anything, just choosing one thing. Just start with one thing. I've talked about this before, but environment is so important. The people you're around is so important. I am grateful enough to be in a group. It's not even a big group. It's just me, two other individuals who we connect over having strong habits. And we said for this year, I pitched this idea that in January, we're going to start with one habit, just one. I chose meditation, 5-minute meditation. There's really no excuse. I have 5 minutes. If I'm too busy for 5 minutes, then I need to reevaluate my entire life. So 5 minutes for meditation and prayer. I believe, and then each month we would add on a new habit. So that is 30 days, 30 to 31 days to lock in, to mess up, to get disciplined on one habit and just add on to it. And you will start to see how easy it is to add on when we're in March right now. So I've already been doing this meditation for what, 90 days? It just feels normal. It just feels normal. So now I can add another habit for March, whatever that is, and another one for April. And all these things add up and stack up over time. It's an idea that I'm really in love with, and I hope more people do, and maybe find someone to be accountable to when it comes to habits. But I really do think that habits, mindset, wellness, this all feeds back into the business. If you are not well, if you are not taking care of yourself, the business is going to suffer. Oftentimes, the business is only as good as the CEO and where the CEO is mentally. CEO, owner, founder, how whatever feels most aligned to you. So these are things to think about, especially when it comes to locking in. It is okay. I'm giving you permission right now. You have permission to do things that might seem a little strange to someone else if it means locking in on your habits. For me, I've never put a vision board on my ceiling before. But this was so instrumental because I would wake up and see it. I would see it. It's like, okay, you're right. I did pass already, even though I am studying every day. It hasn't happened yet. It's just a good way to change your mindset. Doesn't have to be that for you. It could be something else. It could be writing down your goals on a regular basis, writing down how it feels to accomplish that goal, putting yourself in that mindset. These things really do help. Um, being locked in on your spiritual practices, being locked in on, keeping your environment the way that you would like it to be in order for you to be successful. For me, I told you I kept my laptop in my bed next to me, and I would literally wake up, do whatever I do, open that laptop. The tab is already to the program that I use to study, and I'm doing my practice questions. Like this was not a game. And if I really want to lock in on business, I could do the same thing. Wake up and answer my emails, call people back. Now that that test is over, I'm answering the phone like nobody's business because that phone leads to so many different opportunities. Today I answered the phone. I don't know if y'all remember when I talked about that radio deal that I got. But now that I have just more time to focus, I've reached back out to them. It's been 6 years, but I asked them, would y'all be willing to do that same deal with me? It's been 6 years. I didn't say it like that, but it's been 6 years. And give me airtime. They said yes. I answered the phone today. They said yes. I'm going to be in the radio station next week. So it's like when you lock in and you make yourself open to opportunities and you just focus on one thing, opportunities really do open themselves up. Sometimes you have to start small. It may be with starting with, and I shouldn't even call that small, but it could be starting with passing your NCLEX, doing what you need to do, contacting who you need to contact, making yourself visible on social media, which I know is scary for a lot of people, but it's free marketing. But this video is not about social media. I know I have a lot of videos about um, posting on social media, why it's important and why you should start doing it for your business. But yes, I am very excited. I'm very excited to document this journey. I'm very excited to, it kind of almost feels like starting over. I know that the bones of the business is there, but for some reason it does feel like starting over because it feels like I've been away for so long and I have to get back into those routines. And to be honest with you, this is perfect timing because before I started studying, I'll be honest, I was starting to fall out of love with the business. I started like asking questions like why am I doing this? Like what is the point? Like owning a brick and mortar is hard. It's difficult. And it's not, this is a lifestyle. This is not just something you wake up and then you just do it the next day. It does take building. It takes building reputation. It takes putting yourself out there. It takes doing things that are uncomfortable. I am an extremely, you know what, that's not my story anymore. I was going to say I'm a shy person. I can't be. I can't be anymore. Like even me on this live, like I just feel like I can't. I have to share what it is that I do. I have to open my mouth. I have to grab opportunities. I cannot wait for opportunities to come to me. I have to go out and seek them. I cannot be complacent. I cannot be, waiting for things to happen. I have to go out and get it. No one else is going to do it for me. So that's why I just feel like, I don't know. We have to watch the stories that we have in our head. I know a lot of people that I work with, other spa owners and aspiring spa owners, they're similar to me. Like they might be shy. They may be not wanting to put themselves out there. They may feel like, their community isn't really set up for them to win, especially if you're a person of color. Let's talk about it. Like just so many different things. And sometimes I have to give that tough love and just say, no one is going to save us. Like we have to do this ourselves. We have to go out and get it. We have to do what we need to do. And there was a time where I genuinely felt like, I don't know if I want to do this. Maybe I will just, keep running the online business and close the brick and mortar because this is tough. It's a lot of pressure, especially when I was managing 6 to 8 people in person, like managing. I've managed people virtually, like virtual assistants, business managers, but to have 6 to 8 people under my guidance, under my management, and I'm not even at that time, I didn't feel like I was a people person. I'm very much, I like to do things on my own. Like I just, my brain is a little bit different, y'all. So I've had to outgrow that, and I've had to create a different identity for myself in order to be successful in this business. I see D'Angela said, I felt like I didn't want to do it anymore. Massage. Absolutely. And, I think because we're literally close to our work. Like we're using our hands. We're using our own bodies. And we're literally touching our work, if that makes sense. There are people who go to work and they can afford to zone out and step away from the desk or step away from their computer. For us, we are literally in it. We're in our work. And so I think it makes sense when we start to feel burnt out, especially if we don't have systems in place that are meant to give us that breathing room. And I definitely started to feel out of love with the business. I started to feel underappreciated because the only one who can appreciate me, I guess, is my clients. And well, of course, my clients. But it's like I'm managing myself. I don't have a manager. I don't, which is great. This is what I've prayed for. I don't want a manager. I don't want a boss. I am that. But it's just I started to feel underappreciated, and just I just started to feel like, what am I doing this for? Am I losing out time with my child? Like, because when you own a business, it does take up a lot of your time. Veronica says, I'm opening my massage suite Monday. I'm so nervous. Do you have any in-person marketing tips? In-person marketing. So something that I shared a little bit earlier in this live is that I highly, highly, highly recommend, if you do have Instagram, to join that spapreneur community, because I just shared a marketing initiative, like just the behind the scenes of this in-person marketing initiative. And I shared a little bit about it on this live, a healthcare program that I'm launching, which does require in-person presence. But essentially, I mean, the quickest thing I can think of to not, take away from the subject of this live would probably be QR codes are everything, leading people to where you want them to go to meet your goal. So if your goal is more clients, how can you lead them to becoming a client in person? And I find that QR codes are really helpful for this, but you have to be careful because you want to be able to map them to the right place, and just being personable. I find that how we show up, that is the marketing. So, for example, hopefully this is not a sidebar. This is relevant. I went and got my hair done the other day. When I show up, I am the marketing. I'm going to represent my business. I showed up in my uniform, not only because I worked before that, but I showed up in my uniform. I'm obviously meeting another business owner who's doing my hair. So I'm going to talk about the business. That is the marketing. She has access to a plethora of clients that could be my client too. My clients get their hair done. So I have to represent. So I need to be, myself, of course, and myself that's going to be friendly, that's going to be personable, that's going to be respectful, that's going to be well dressed, well, everything, conducting myself in a manner that I'm proud of and that, the business can be proud of. So we are our own marketing. I think something I would love to talk about in a future live is just even getting out of this introverted mindset that I've had for all pretty much a majority of my life, which is that I am extremely introverted. And again, I've had to quite literally brainwash myself out of that mindset because I can't afford to be an introvert. I can't afford to be shy when I have this amazing service that I offer and people need it. Like, this is my job. My job is to represent, and my job is to let people know, because some people genuinely do not know that they could be receiving services that can change their life, change their wellness, and just give them a better living overall. You're so welcome. Thank you for being here. So honestly, it's time to lock in, y'all. It's time to lock in. Like, I'm coming to you kind of off the script. It's time to lock in. I'm telling you, if I can do that and pass that test, and I've done quite a few things, but nothing was like that. I'm sorry, nothing was like that. And it just, maybe for someone else, they do it on the first try and it's nothing. But for me, I just need a little something extra, right? So I have to do the most. That is the only way that I can do anything, is kind of accommodating myself, because I know how I am. And so it's time to lock in. I feel like I want to re-fall in love with the business, and I'm starting to do that. I'm starting to really wake up and see, and this is not necessarily to toot my own horn, but like, we offer an amazing service. Like, this is changing lives. I have to share. Like, I have to make sure that I am promoting. And I'm starting to wake up to it because of the things that some of my clients will tell me. Some of my clients will come in and, not even being disrespectful, they'll say, this is you, like, this is your business, because they look at me, they think I'm, 23 years old, 24 years old, whatever. And they're just shocked that I've done all this and I've been doing this. This is almost 10 years I've been in this industry, and I've been consistent, and it hasn't been perfect, and there's totally been ups and downs, but I'm not quitting. I'm not going to stop. Like, this is just the beginning. Like, I can't stop now. I have to keep going. I have to keep seeing like where this is going to lead. I have to encourage other people to do the same thing, because I just have a feeling if I can do this in this small town that I live in, like, someone else can do this in the town that they're living in. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like a hidden gem, and I know that there are other people out there that feel like they are the hidden gem of their community. And this is just stuff that I never thought that I would have access to, or I would ever think that I would be able to do, as a massage therapist. Because when I went to school, I was taught, well, mostly I was taught that when you are a massage therapist, you go work for a spa. This spa is going to pay you at this time. This was back in 2017, 2016. This spa is going to pay you maybe $20 an hour, for your body work, for your time, for your energy. And you make it tips, and you make the most of it. You try not to work too much because you could get burnt out. And it's very likely that you will get burnt out. This is what I was taught. I was taught you could also maybe work at like a clinic, and at the clinic they'll pay you even less because it's medical based. There's not going to be any tips, and you just make do. And it is normal for you to have side hustles. It's normal for you to have multiple things going on. because I was taught, even in school, that as a massage therapist, you cannot really make like a full time income. Something lucky about when I went to school is the fact that my instructor was a business owner. She owned a specialized practice. And honestly, now that I think about it, I believe that I was heavily inspired by her without even realizing it. The fact that she specialized in something, she was completely independent. She had also gone on to do more fulfilling things. Like she served on the board of massage, making sure people were, acting in line with their license. Like she did a lot of legislative stuff for the board of massage. And I was just very heavily inspired by her. I definitely want to see if I could interview her for this channel, because she's just done amazing things. But anyways, I bring that up because I learned that even when I was going to school to do this for a living, that you like just being a business owner to the degree that I have become, which is, staffing people and, having employees and being able to, help pay for things, pay for education, pay for classes, like all these different things. I didn't know that was a possibility. And so I have to share this, and I have to share this with others, and I can't stop. And I'll definitely do what it takes to fall in love with this practice, with this business, and help it reach its potential. And, when it's time to stop or to do something different, I think I will get those signs. But until then, I really have to see this all the way through. I do not like wasted potential, and I have to see how far I can get. One thing I do want to say about that, when it comes to seeing how far you can get, I want you, when you are locking in, when you have one singular goal, and if you're watching now, there's a couple people watching right now, or if you're watching the replay, I would love if you put in the chat publicly what it is that you're locking in on. Like, what is one thing, if this thing happened, if you accomplish this thing, it would change the game for you. Like this specific thing, if you did this, it would have a ripple effect. What is that for you? Put it in the chat. But essentially, when you are doing this, I want you to really define what success looks like for you, like in terms of the overall goal. For me, I have created like a 10, 15-year plan. Finally, I had never done that before. I always heard of people doing that. And I've had to define what success looks like for me. Success to me is not having 10 different franchises. It's not having different locations around the world. To me, and I hesitate to say this because this could change and this is recorded. But to me, it's just like paying the bills and being able to be what I like to call time rich, which means that I don't have to be in a particular place at any given time. I have accomplished this before. I'm ready to do it again. I'm ready to help other people do this as well. I've helped other people accomplish this as well. And I'm just ready to do that again and also experience it in a different capacity. Now that my child's older and um, I'm older too. So to me, success is being able to just not have to worry about, paying for bills, being able to travel, be time rich, not having to be in one particular place at a particular time, and just being able to move around, do things on my own time. Meaning, so whatever that means to me, right? So, what is that to you? And again, I'd love to see if there is one singular goal that you are locking in on. Please put it in the comments, put it in the chat. I'd love to hear what that is. Um, but yes, it is time to lock in. I think that in the past, when I've done these lives, when I've done coaching, when I have given advice, when I have, offered my expertise on certain subjects, I feel like I am very understanding because I've been there. But now, especially now, I've also invested in coaching. I've invested in mentorship. I've invested in having someone come into my business and help me out and tell me like what steps I need to take. I am realizing that tough love might be the only way. Like just realizing that we can't keep making excuses if this is what we want. I feel like any excuse you can make, that just means you haven't learned yourself yet. So if you have certain limitations, let's make these limitations work for you. Let's not let it limit ourselves. So, a small example of a limitation, I have a child. Most of you may have children. Let's not make that a limitation. Let's figure out how we can have that work for us so that we can accomplish the overall goal, because we know that us accomplishing our goals helps them accomplish their goals. That's just one example. If your limitation is, and I use limitations loosely, if it's your attention span, my attention span, mm, it's been getting shorter each and every year. We're rewriting the story. I'm expanding my attention span. If I can sit down and do a 5-hour exam and pass, that's no longer my story, right? So, um, let's say that is your story. Let's figure out how that can work for you. Like, I'm being so serious. Let's figure out how these obstacles, and I'm putting air quotes because I just know that they can be overcome. I know that they could if you want it enough. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you want it enough. Honestly, there are some people who say they want certain things, they don't really want it, because if they did, they would have been tried to find a solution, or at least ask the right question to be able to find the answer. There are some people who talk about what they want because of what they think it's associated with. So they might say, "Oh, I want to start a business," because they might associate starting a business with buying a Mercedes. Like, there are some people who really think like that. Okay, buying my business means I get this thing that I want, which is a Mercedes. And it gets deeper than that. They think that, okay, if I have this Mercedes, it shows people that, it says something about me to the world, that brand, whatever. And that's really what I want. So what they really want is that brand recognition, and to like share something about themselves. They don't actually want to start the business, because if they actually want to start the business, they would have at least, I don't know, came up with a business idea, at least wrote down just a couple ideas, put people in their network, done something that would indicate that that's something that they wanted. So we have to be wary of that as well. Really ask yourself. I know I talk about asking yourself why, but you really do have to ask yourself why. I've had to ask myself why. Why am I continuing with this brick and mortar business? It's really, really hard. My staff, I'll have staff, like a strong staff for 2 years, and then all of a sudden I have to start all over because of one reason or another. All this stuff, all these doubts start clouding in. And I have to ask myself, why am I doing this? Am I doing this just to show people that I have a business and, like, that's really cool right now? Am I doing this because I'm trying to prove something to myself or my younger self or my family or this or my community? I have to ask all these difficult questions. And if it has to do with someone else, then I have to reevaluate, because everything that we do needs to really come from within and be for ourselves, and the ripple effect that we think it could have on others. Y'all are so welcome. Thank you for being here. Thank you for being here. Yeah, it's time to lock in. So, what I was saying before is that I think that tough love might be the way. I think the way that I show up here is going to be a little bit different. I feel like I've put a lot of blood, sweat, and tears into this endeavor. And I just genuinely feel like if I can do it, like anyone can do something to this extent. And so whatever those limitations are, I'm here to figure out what those are for you, help you identify what those are for you. And it's time to make our limitations work for us, if this is what we want, whatever that is to you. Yes. Mary said to become national board certification, NCT MB, demonstrates my deep commitment to help advance myself in this field. I want to take exam in the fall. Absolutely. And that is so achievable. I'm also affiliated with them. That was an endeavor in itself. And even for that endeavor, I had to lock in. I had to be focused. I admit at that time I did have help. But if I were to do it all over again and I didn't have help, it would still be achievable. And just know if other people can do it, you can do it. And that's another thing. I don't know. I won't judge it, but I did have a thought. Y'all can tell me if it's toxic or not. I don't know. Or maybe it doesn't matter. But I kept having this thought when I was trying to pass the NCLEX exam. Especially after having failed it before. I was just thinking, I was like, if other people can do it, I can do it. Like, if that person can do it, I can do it. Like, and not saying anything about them. And I have worked under nurses before, and I've seen the good, bad, the ugly. I've seen a lot of different things. In any profession, there's going to be good, bad actors, whatever. And I'm just like, if they can do it and they don't have half the compassion that I have, come on now, I can do this. Like, what? I can do this. Yes. Congratulations on opening up on Monday. We're locking in on time freedom. That is key. Focus is key. It's so important. And it's funny because we live in a world right now where everything is trying to take our focus away. Everything. Like, you can't turn anywhere without there being an advertisement for something, someone trying to, do this and that. And I'm not saying that is bad. Everyone has their own agenda, everyone has their own thing, but it takes away so much focus. And now we're trained to get our dopamine from 6-second videos, 10-second videos, just going through the array of emotions when we're scrolling. And so it really is important to lock in. I told y'all I deleted Netflix. I had to get off social media. I wasn't answering phone calls. I was letting hundreds of dollars of business slip through the cracks because I was so focused. Did I have to let it get that extreme? Maybe not, but that's what I did. I just shut everything out and I just focused. And that's what we're doing for our business moving forward. Moving forward. But we also have to, again, remember, focus on our wellness. Remember, we got to focus on our wellness. There are days where I get home and I still have to do bedtime, bath time, story time, homework time. And then I have to do my own bath time, eating dinner, all that stuff, all these things. Now it's 10 p.m. I'm tired. Did I answer my emails? No. Should I? Yes, but I also need rest. Because if I don't get rest, that will have a ripple effect on the next day. I might eat poorly, I might make poor decisions. I have to make the best decisions if I'm going to be, making decisions for the business. So it's a balance and it is difficult, especially when you're a mother. I get it. Especially when you're a parent, a dad, whatever. It's hard when you're in school, when you have other obligations, you're taking care of people. It is so hard, but I promise you, if we could just focus and lock in, there's like just one goal, just one thing. It's so possible. Becoming obsessed with it. Like, I'm telling you, I would take my backpack everywhere. I was taking my backpack everywhere. People didn't understand it. I'm taking it to the family events. Like, I can't go to that party. I can't do that thing. I can't celebrate with you. I'm sorry. I will have to celebrate after because I am locked in on this goal. And some people didn't understand it because I didn't share my goal with everybody. I didn't tell everyone what I was working towards because that opens up the door for doubt. It opens up the door for criticism. It can open up the door for just so many different energies that you do not need when you are focused on your goal. It's okay to be private about your goal. But I am definitely feeling motivated. I want to see what's possible. I am here to figure out like what possibilities we can tap into. Something I have been doing lately a lot is just trying not to be in the driver's seat and allowing myself to be in the passenger seat, metaphorically, meaning that I think prior to having this experience of having to lock in after a failed attempt, I was controlling everything. Even like my business, I was controlling a lot. I wasn't really asking for spiritual guidance. I wasn't really like seeking answers. I was just doing what I think I should do, and now I am so open. I am listening more than I speak, aside from right now. I'm listening more than I can speak. I am getting different perspectives. I am just asking questions and waiting for the answers to come to me. I think that has been really helpful. It's allowed me to relax. I've been very calm and relaxed, just thinking that the right thing is going to happen at the right time, no matter what. No matter what I do, the right thing is going to happen at the right time. And that really does reassure me. And it gives me some grace to learn lessons. I say learn lessons instead of make mistakes because I don't really believe in mistakes. I do believe in learning lessons. Um, Not to say that you can't make mistakes, but you should absolutely be learning from them if you are. And it's just allowed me to relax so much because I find when I am relaxed, I give myself more freedom to do things differently than I normally would. And I'm not just doing that with business, I'm doing that with my everyday life. Um, yeah, so now's the time. It's the beginning of the year. We're in Q1. What is your goal for Q1? What is your goal for Q2? I am absolutely motivated. I am open to possibilities. I'm keeping my mind open to possibilities. I am just being open to goodness, and I'm being open to just whatever is meant to be, for sure. Being open to opportunities. Um, One of the last things I'll share with you is one thing that I've been doing lately to lock in is I've been taking one day out the week, excuse me, where I feel really good, where I feel good, not even feel good because, I could do this even if I didn't feel good, but I will go to a coffee shop. I could possibly do this at my home, and I will just force myself into like the business, like into the business mind. What is the best way to explain this? I will tell myself, okay, whatever opportunities are meant to happen, but I have to go out and get it. So let's answer these phone calls. Let's call back these people. Let's do some confirmation calls. Let's reach out to this person who might be interested in this offer. Let's go ahead and write this email blast that I'm going to send out to all my clients and, let them know about this package that we're offering. It's an opportunity for me to lock in and be open and to be, I guess you could say, extroverted and just going out and getting it and like with a good attitude. I think that's something that I was missing before, is that I would get so in the routines of the business, like looking at my checklist, and I would start to feel like this is a job. Like, this is a job. I would start to feel the pressure. Like, if I don't do this, all these people are watching me. Like, I would have my virtual assistant watching me. I would have my front desk watching me, waiting for my next move. At the time, I had a business manager, an online business manager. She's waiting for my next move. And I just felt so like grateful, but like suffocated. And now it's like, I will choose this day. I will just feel good and I will make those phone calls. I will do the thing that I'm trying to do. I will wear my uniform out in public. I will openly talk to someone about what it is I do. I will put myself in situations to talk about what it is that I do. I will, be outside. I'll pass out business cards. I need to share that clip on YouTube of me just being outside and I'm just talking to people about what it is that I do. Like, and just being someone that I feel like I'm not, because I am not that person who is extroverted, but I force myself to do it because no one I'm telling you, no one is going to talk about the business the way that I am. No one is going to go out and get it for me. No one cares as much as I do. So I have to do it myself. And I encourage all of you to be the same exact way. Letitia says, today makes my 3-month anniversary of owning my solo massage business. I like the term time rich. For me, it has always been financial freedom, which will help me reach time rich status. Yes, I love that. I love that. In 3 months, that means you start at the beginning of the year. That is a precious time to start. And I'm wishing you nothing but success because you already have your mind locked in on a goal, and that is to be time rich. One thing I keep saying, oh, this is the last thing, but no, let's talk about it. Let's talk about what time rich really looks like. I want to give y'all some examples. When I went on my first honeymoon, I say first because I went on multiple with the same person. I don't know why I felt the need to disclaim that. But when I went to Costa Rica, I had moments where I hadn't gotten to the point where I was, someone else was doing payroll for me. I was still doing payroll, but that was like literally my only task. I would do payroll. And literally, I could see on my phone, even though, was it a different time zone? It was a little bit of a different time zone. I could see on my phone my practitioners going to, because at the time we were 100% mobile, going to homes. They were selling packages on my behalf. They were selling services. They were rebooking clients. And even not only that, but some people were going on the website. I'd never spoken to them, not once, and they are buying packages. They're buying gift cards. Money is coming in. I'm in Costa Rica. I don't know, had a daiquiri or something. Like that felt like time freedom for me. Um the very first time I experienced this, I went back to San Diego. I was still pregnant at the time, and I had two practitioners at that time, and they had already been trained. They had been doing this for a little minute, doing the service how I trained them to do it. And at that time, yes, I was still doing payroll. Again, that was my main task, and I was available for questions and phone calls, which didn't really happen because I feel like I trained them pretty well. But I'm in San Diego and I'm seeing packages being sold. I'm seeing gift cards being sold. If you look at my Vimeo, which I have, I don't know where I have it publicly, but if you were to look at my Vimeo, I have some success stories from students that I've worked with who describe the same exact thing. And that honestly makes me feel good knowing that, okay, I experienced this for the first time and this felt good. I need to tell more people about it. And now I have other people saying that they're experiencing this for the first time. As a massage therapist, this is not something that I was taught that we could do in school. I'm trying to tell you, like, that time freedom felt really, really good. And one thing that I hope to do more this year on this channel is just more workshops, especially talking about the financial side of things, of how you can manufacture your own time freedom. Something I don't see anyone talking about is how to budget for the business in a way that works for you and helps you get ahead and serves you. Just like how we have to budget in our own personal finances, we absolutely need to budget for the business and just be aware of certain things and be just just know where things are going. And there is just a delicate art to this because this can make and break the business. I hope to talk about that more, but I'm wanting time freedom for everyone because having to be like in the treatment room day in and day out, that is a recipe for getting burnt out. And it's just, I don't think it's how we were meant to experience our business. That is a great way to fall out of love. And although I am back at that stage, I'm in the treatment room, which I've been enjoying. I am really locked in. I am working on just making the business more franchise ready, just franchise ready. I'm not saying I'm going the franchise, but I'm saying if I wanted to, it's ready to. You know what I'm saying? So I want everyone to have that because that helps you become time rich. Let's think about the massage envies of the world or the Hannah Stones of the world. Do you think the owners are concerned about like for example, people showing up to work or people doing what they need to do, there is likely a procedure for all of that stuff. So making sure that your business is procedure ready, that there is like just rules and guidelines for everything that you do, even when it comes to just small things like texting clients back or emailing clients. There really does have to be a procedure for all of these things. Because if you want to step away for a couple weeks, you got to be able to illustrate how you want things to go, how you want your business to be represented. Um, I'm not saying you have to run a 5-person operation or 8-person operation. It can absolutely be done as a solo practitioner. And I'm here to help y'all get there. So, all in all, we're locking in. We're not going to have this passive voice on this channel. It's just time to be straight up. It's time to be a little bit more straightforward. And I don't want to leave anything out. I want to make sure that everyone is getting this information. I want it to be to where you don't have to buy a course. I have them, but you do not have to buy one in order to get this knowledge. So I'm gonna make sure that I'm here. I'm so happy that you all received me today. Coming back to YouTube after 3 months of being gone and locking in to tell you to lock in and focus. I would love to hear your takeaways from this live, like what you got from it, anything actionable, what you're going to do from here. That lets me know that I did not just ramble, but I actually gave something that you could take away with, whether you're watching the replay or you're watching right now. I'd love to hear what that is. Now that I am here and present, I am answering messages. Well, I'm still going through the messages, but please like reach out to me, whether that's on Instagram. I'm telling you, join that Spapreneur group. I share a lot of behind the scenes there. I share a lot of behind the scenes on TikTok. And I'm hoping to bring a lot of those TikToks over into YouTube Shorts. And I just have a lot of cool stuff planned this year in how I want to show up and the impact that I wish to make. I believe the last time I did this live, I shared that it is one of my goals to offer scholarships and grants to other business owners who have passed the NCLEX, who are licensed, who are wanting to start their business. That is an impact that I want to make in order to give back. And it really does start with just growing awareness and being here on this channel. That's where it starts. So thank you for that. Welcome back. And I am just really excited to see everyone's insight. I'm excited to be back. I have recorded a few massage tutorials that I'm looking forward to editing and sharing. And I'm just excited. So thank you for being here. I appreciate you if you stayed for this live, this whole live. It truly does mean a lot to me. And I look forward to seeing y'all next week. All right. Y'all have a great rest of your evening. Good night.